So we went to the big mosque. I went there wanting to look at it as a generic worship service. And it was clear to me you could edit it in a way that it would look menacing, or you could edit it in a way that it would look like, essentially like my church service that I go to Sunday here, okay? And it was clear to me as a TV producer, you can have an agenda and bring home what you want. You can take pictures of people bowing down and cut in gorillas jumping over barbed wire and lay on some jihadist music, and you get yourself one scary Muslim clip. You could do the same thing with Christians if you wanted to, and they do, you see. Or you could go there and film it the way I wanted to film it, which is more just neighborhood worship service. Well, this is the big mosque. We went there as tourists, and all the rugs were rolled up. It just felt like a chaotic parking lot, kind of, and I just couldn't even envision it full of people. And the next day, all the rugs were laid out properly, and the place was filled with worshipers. In Islam, when you have a big prayer service on Friday, you got soldiers, because it's just an indication of the tension in the Muslim world these days. If there's going to be some angry, fringe group that's going to shoot up some other Muslim group they don't like, it's probably going to be at a mosque. So they're always going to be worshiping with soldiers standing guard. It's not as prevalent until everybody bows down, and then you see the soldiers standing there. Okay? So we walked through all of these thousands of people worshiping halfway through the service, and we set up our tripod at the corner and just watched. And it was fascinating for me because we had to stand there for over an hour, and I just kept thinking how much this is like my church service. There's a sermon that goes too long. There's people bowing. There's passing of the peace. There's anxious little kids pulling on their dad's finger to go, and there's people whose cell phones go off and they go, oh, darn, I should have turned that thing off before the service. There's people catching my eye contact and winking and clowning around. And it just was very much like a church. Everybody was dressed up. The moms were on the other side of the curtain there because they had their zone where they prayed. Why do women pray apart from the men? Well, praying is very physical in Islam. So we're there filming this, and people are praying. And I asked my friend Abdi, what does this say? And it says, death to Israel. So you got this top-down propaganda ragging on these people. And you got the soldiers, you got the tension, and you got people that just want to praise God according to their faith. It was fascinating to watch the whole dynamic. And the friendly vibe I got there, I got a real friendly vibe standing there, and I felt rude walking in there, not one of in their faith. I'm obviously a Christian instead of a Muslim with a big camera, and we're just taking pictures of them, and they welcomed us there. And then afterwards, everybody shakes hand with the cleric, like we shake hand with the pastor on the way out of church, and everybody gathers in the narthex for coffee and cookies, right? Well, here it would be mulberries and to talk with the neighborhood. And they've got, because it's so hot, they've got a big courtyard. But everybody, there was the same conviviality after the Friday mosque prayer service as you'd have on the Sunday morning in a church. So you got the old timers shaking the tree, and you got a big sheet here gathering the mulberries, and the kids all scrambling for the berries, and everybody catching up on what's going on with the neighborhood, and you hear about so-and-so got into school, and what about your grandma? And it was just that kind of neighborhood scene after the mosque. I thought it was quite a charming situation. The cleric was all excited that we were there. He came running over and wanted to talk. He spoke English quite well, and it was just a very poignant experience for me to witness that. Afterwards, people had all dressed up, and it was their Sunday, go out, go to prayer, or Friday, go to prayer thing, and then they'd take pictures of the kids and be thankful that their family's healthy and feel good about worshiping God. Now, when you go to Iran, there's two different sects in the Muslim world, Shia and Sunni. 85% of the Islamic world is Sunni, 15% are Shia. The only real Shia power is Iran. And Iraq, we know, we're learning about this now, is mostly Shia, but it was ruled by Sunni Saddam, a minority, who was the heavy-headed guy who'd keep his majority down, and that was not sustainable. Today, you're going to have a Shiite Iraq and a Shiite Iran, and they are going to be, natural allies because they're like Protestants in a Catholic world or something like this. People ask, is there religious freedom in Iran? And I wanted to know, what's the deal? Because I've got Baha'i friends who can't go to Iran because they'll get killed or they'll be in danger if they go to Iran. I asked my guides, I asked the Iranians that I met. Yes, there is religious freedom as long as you are not blasphemous to Muhammad. And Muhammad says he is the last prophet. So if your prophet, like Jesus, is before Muhammad, he's okay. Jesus is 600 years before Muhammad, no problem. In fact, Jesus and lots of Bible characters are revered in the Muslim faith. Baha'u'llah, who's the prophet of Baha'i people, is from the 19th century, long after Muhammad. He's not okay. By their religion, they are offended by a prophet who's after Muhammad. Okay, that's their religion. And they've got a theocracy, and you cannot be a Baha'i in Iran. Now, I don't think that's okay, but they live by that, and that's something that they're not going to change. What do we do? That's a tough question. If I was a Baha'i, I'd get out of there, and find some other place. But I don't know. It's just, that's the reality. I asked my guide then, okay, it's religious freedom unless you're a Baha'i. In practice, if I'm a Christian or a Jew, can I get anywhere in society? He said, yeah. I said, what about the military or the government? He said, well, no, then you have to be a Muslim. I said, a Shiite Muslim? He said, yes. Practicing Shiite Muslim? Yes. Okay? So if you want to get anywhere in the military or the government, you got to be that religion. Now, a lot of Americans think that's disgusting, and then can you imagine a Muslim candidate for the President of the United States? No, you can't. It's not allowed here, just like a Christian's not allowed there to be their president, you see? I mean, that's the honest truth, isn't it? So we can be appalled at this stuff, but we got to take a hard look at ourselves, and we got to understand what motivates their strong feelings.